On a foggy Thursday morning on February 1, 1979, a chartered Air France flight from Paris touched down at Mehrabad International Airport near central Tehran, carrying Iran's most revered spiritual figure, Ayatollah Khomeini, who was coming home after 14 years in exile. Millions of Iranians welcomed their leader. A US journalist asked him how he felt about his return. He replied, nothing. It was a turning point in modern Iranian history. This is the story of how one leader changed a nation. In 1941, British and Soviet troops occupied Iran and installed Mohammad Reza Pahlavi as the second modern Shah of Iran. The new Shah had close ties with the West. Mohammad Reza embraced many Western ideas and in 1963 launched his White Revolution, a broad government program that called for the reduction of religious estates in the name of land redistribution and other modern reforms. Khomeini was the first religious leader to openly condemn the Shah's program of westernization. In fiery dispatches from his Fazia seminary in Qom, Khomeini called for the overthrow of the Shah and the establishment of an Islamic state. In 1963, Mohammad Reza imprisoned him, which led to riots, and on November 4, 1964, expelled him from Iran. Khomeini settled in Najaf, Iraq, and sent home recordings of his sermons that continued to incite his student followers, breaking precedents with the Shia tradition that discouraged clerical participation in government. He called for Shia leaders to govern Iran. In the 1970s, Mohammad Reza further enraged Islamic fundamentalists in Iran by holding an extravagant celebration of the 2500th anniversary of the pre-Islamic Persian monarchy and replaced the Islamic calendar with a Persian calendar. As discontent grew, the Shah became more repressive and support for Khomeini grew. In 1978, massive anti-Shah demonstrations broke out in Iran's major cities. Dissatisfied members of the lower and middle classes joined the students, and Khomeini called for the Shah's immediate overthrow. In December, the army mutinied, and on January 16, 1979, the Shah fled. Khomeini arrived in Tehran in triumph on February 1, 1979, and was acclaimed as the leader of the Iranian Revolution. With religious fervor running high, he consolidated his authority and set out to transform Iran into a religious state. On November 4, 1979, the 15th anniversary of his exile, students stormed the US embassy in Tehran and took the staff hostage. With Khomeini's approval, they demanded the return of the Shah to Iran and held 52 Americans hostage for 445 days. The Shah died in Egypt of cancer in July 1980. In December 1979, a new Iranian constitution was approved, naming Khomeini as Iran's political and religious leader for life. Under his rule, Western culture was banned and Islamic law was reinstated. Revolutionary tribunals tried and ordered executed more than 600 of the Shah's former officials and army officers, as well as adulterers, homosexuals, and many more. By 1982, it was estimated that more than 4,500 people had been executed and about 30,000 were imprisoned. In 1980, Iraq invaded Iran's oil-producing province of Khuzestan. After initial advances, the Iraqi offense was repulsed. In 1982, Iraq voluntarily withdrew and sought a peace agreement, but Khomeini renewed fighting. Stalemates and deaths of thousands of young Iranian conscripts in Iraq followed. In 1988, Khomeini finally agreed to a UN-brokered ceasefire. After the Ayatollah Khomeini died on June 3, 1989, more than 2 million anguished mourners attended his funeral. Ali Khamenei became supreme leader. Gradual democratization began in Iran in early the 1990s, culminating in a free election in 1997, in which the moderate reformist Mohammad Khatami was elected president.